Governor Ron DeSantis just declaring a state of emergency for 24 counties for what's still only a tropical depression for now, but the forecast shows it could hit around Florida's Gulf Coast as a major hurricane in the middle of next week.
Pull out all of your emergency supplies. Make sure you have everything that you need on hand. Top things off if you need to. Make sure you're ready to go.
National Hurricane Center Acting Director Jamie Rome echoing the governor's appeal to residents not to wait to prepare. Meantime, Tropical Storm Hermine just named about 290 miles northeast of the Cape Verde Islands. And Hurricane Fiona got stronger, back to a Cat 4 after buffeting Bermuda as it blew by earlier today, now speeding toward Newfoundland, where it's expected to be one of the strongest storms ever to hit Canada after killing at least 8 people in the Caribbean, including hard-hit Puerto Rico. It's day one of 4 days of voting in Russian-occupied parts of Ukraine.
These referendums have been condemned by the Ukrainians and their Western allies, who say President Putin will use the annexation of this territory to garner internal support. The Russian leader facing mounting pressure after announcing the mobilization of 300,000 people to fight in Ukraine. One Russian newspaper believes that number could be closer to 1 million.
Fox's Trey Yingst in Kyiv. Putin's decision to call up reserve forces leading not only to mass protests, but an exodus with long lines of cars at border crossings as Russians flee the country. White House spokeswoman Karine Jean-Pierre.
We are prepared to impose additional swift and severe economic costs on Russia along with our allies and partners in response to these actions if they move forward with annexation.
As President Biden released a statement emphasizing again the U.S. will never recognize Ukrainian territory as anything other than part of Ukraine. America is listening to Fox News.
When you're an innovative business, every blinking cursor, every blank page is an opportunity. What will you do with it? Will you make something better or create something new? Our Dell Technologies advisors provide you with tools and expertise to do incredible things. Because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel V Pro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
The roar of our engines, the pump of our heartbeats, the pedal to our metal, the sparks that ignite us, the pistons that push us, the passions that drive us. From the feelings that move us to the places that pull us on the roads that unite us. With nearly 6,000 stores and over 17,000 auto care centers, Napa has America's largest network of parts and care, here to keep you firing on all cylinders.
Democrats, including the president, are blasting as extreme a Republican agenda unveiled by House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy.
A plan built, he says, on a strong economy, a safe nation where border security and police are funded, an American future built on freedom.
If you're like everybody else we hear, whether you can afford it, whether you feel safe, the challenge of your children getting lost behind, or a government that's run amok, who has a plan to change that course? We do. The Democrats have no plan for the problem they created.
The plan also includes holding government accountable. Democratic House Speaker Nancy Pelosi in a statement calling Republicans' plan a commitment to MAGA and an extremist agenda designed to diminish Americans' health, freedom, and security.
Fox's Jeff Manasso. President Biden calling it a thin series of policy goals while also criticizing MAGA Republicans during a speech to the nation's largest teachers union this afternoon. A sell-off on Wall Street blamed mainly on global recession fears. The Dow, the S&P, the NASDAQ all tumbling more than 1%, but it could have been worse. The Dow finishing down 486. It was down more than 800 at one point. An auction centered around a beloved entertainer.
Thank you for being a friend.
Betty White's estate is putting up more than 1,500 items from the iconic actress's life and career. Julian's Auctions is hosting a 3-day event which ends Sunday in Beverly Hills as well as online. Fans can bid on items from the star's life, which includes awards, scripts, wardrobe, and memorabilia from her TV shows and films, her paintings, Al figurines, and classic collection of Dr. Dolittle books, jewelry, and household and other personal items from her homes in Brentwood and Carmel, California. The Golden Girls star died December 31st last year, just a few weeks shy of her 100th birthday.
Fox's Michelle Polino. I'm Lisa Brady. This is Fox News.
For Martinez, getting swallowed up. He loses the football. Scoop and sprint. Here's Chase Brown in the flat. Cuts it back. Chase Brown up the sideline, brought down inside the 15. Isaiah Williams, the man in motion. Give it to Josh McCray. And McCray slips a tackle inside the 20. Stiff arm inside the 10. Touchdown, Illinois. The first look at the barge formation.
For Martinez, getting swallowed up. He loses the football. Scoop and sprint. There goes Kelvin Hart. Touchdown, Illinois.
There's Chase Brown in the flat. Cuts it back. Chase Brown up the sideline, brought down inside the 15. Isaiah Williams, the man in motion. Give it to Josh McCray. And McCray slips a tackle inside the 20. Stiff arm inside the 10. Touchdown, Illinois. First look at the barge formation.
Got linemen everywhere. Isaiah Williams to the edge with a cut and the touchdown.
Ryman, the tight end. Lead blocker for Brown, who steps on it. Brown! Touchdown! Reynolds picked off. No! Yes, it was Keith Randolph Jr. who held on. Rolls out into the end zone. It is caught. Casey Washington's got it. Illinois pulled off the upset. For the Fighting Illini, and they are going to get the Land of Lincoln trophy. They are taking Abe Lincoln's hat, keeping it here in Champaign. Brett Bielema snaps the 6-game losing streak to Northwestern.
The idea of year two, knowing our roster a little bit better.
We don't talk about being physical. That's what we do.
Couldn't be more excited for 2022. ILL.
ILL.
ILL, baby.
Good morning, everybody. It is The Drive, ESPN Radio 93.5, College Game Day with The Drive with Tay and Piper. A lot of stuff we get to talk about today. Derek Piper.
A lot of stuff going on, man.
A lot of stuff.
Excited to be here.
And the weather is not cooperating. When we decided to make this a post-game edition of College Game Day, we did not expect this rain to come through, but here it is. It's not that bad, and there are tents out here and umbrellas. So,
and drinks.
And drinks. That's exactly right. So come out and join us here at Pia Sports Bar. We will be here until 6 o'clock. I'll tell you all the specials coming up as well. But Derek Piper, listen, I mean, I understand that Chattanooga is a FCS program, but it's not like this is Alabama facing Chattanooga, right, where you would expect 31-0 or worse. This is an Illinois program that has never lost to an FCS, but you also didn't maybe think, all right, well, this will just be an absolute domination. It was. And this Illinois team, even with that beating a Chattanooga team, is continuing to show me how many steps forward this program is going right now under Brett Bielema and this coaching staff. And to come out and blank Chattanooga 31-0, that was stinking impressive last night.
Yeah, it's exciting. And for someone that earlier in the week looks back at last year, Chattanooga on the road against Kentucky, and to have some caution of, whoa, wait, Kentucky won 10 games last year, barely beat Chattanooga, trailed in the fourth quarter. If you're going to look at that and acknowledge that, which I did, I think that we might have been mistaken to just overlook it and say, well, Chattanooga's going to be a walk in the park. The fact that it was one is credit to Brett Bielema and this team for where they're at right now defensively, having things go on the offensive side of the ball for a Chattanooga defense that was only giving up 2.4 yards per carry. Chase to yet again just check the box of 100 every week. Maybe Wisconsin's going to be tough. We know our boy Jimmy Leonard will be scheming up some ways to slow down Chase Brown. And I'm excited to talk about what's ahead for this Illinois football team, and that's a credit to Brett Bielema, where you had the disappointment of the game at Indiana where things could have run off the tracks early. You could have lost at home against Virginia, which we knew was a toss-up game, or this one, which would have been an utter disappointment. But that's been something that's been characteristic of teams in the past. They didn't let that happen, and now they have a ton to play for at 3-1.
I agree 100%. And it's still, and Brett Bielema even alluded to this last night, you still kind of feel that pain of that Indiana loss now, right? I mean, you could be sitting here 4-0, getting ready to attack the rest of the Big Ten, including your division, where you've got 3 big games coming up that we'll talk about. But I don't know why it's so hard to get the Indiana loss out of your mind. You know why it is. Not only could you be 4-0, but you absolutely dominated that game. You controlled the line of scrimmage. You controlled the time of possession by 13 minutes. You outgained them in every category, essentially, and yet you come away with a loss. And really, it was maybe the one drive all season that the defense kind of got shredded on. Other than that, they've been unbelievable. They haven't given up a touchdown in 2 games. In fact, they haven't given up a touchdown since that one against Indiana. So I don't want to dwell on the negative, and I'm doing it right now. But it's hard to get that one out of your mind because of what happened in that game and the way you dominated it.
No, it's fully understandable, and you hope that at the end of the season that you can make up for it. You can win a toss-up game, whether it be Iowa at home, Minnesota at home. You go on the road against Nebraska. We know that is a train wreck right now, but
looking winnable every day.
That's
right?
still one that they're sitting there saying this season's terrible, but we could still beat Illinois, where they've already sold the tickets. They've sold out every year for how many? 35 straight years. But you can make up for that Indiana game, which they've done their part so far. The opportunities being given to beat Virginia. Brennan Armstrong's considered one of the better quarterbacks in college football, and for that defense to respond. But we all know why you're sitting there circling it is because it's a counting game to get to bowl eligibility. Or it's a counting game to where you're looking at your Big Ten record and trying to have hopes. I mean, Jay Lehman said it on our show, and other people are sitting there looking around the league like Iowa's not offensively. They're in big trouble. Wisconsin, how good are they? They lost at home to Washington State. We've talked in many off seasons. Why can't it be Illinois' year? Why can't they finally have a Purdue year, a Minnesota year? And if it's going to be that, then you feel like you maybe missed an opportunity on that front. But it was a gas defense, a defense that just had stop after stop after stop, and ultimately the offense couldn't give you enough to come away with a win in Bloomington. But the good thing is they've been able to move on from that. The defense has been
incredible.
Lights out, looks as good as last year, if not better. I think in the last 2 games they look better than even last year. Somehow that's possible. Ryan Walters, just enjoy him while you can, because it looks like he's going to be a very worthy head coaching candidate very, very soon. But, yeah, it's exciting, and the fact that we can sit here going back into Big Ten play against a Wisconsin team, and we know that October's just loaded schedule-wise with a lot to be excited for and look forward to.
And we'll look ahead at that. Let's right now the rest of the year root for the Colorado Buffaloes to win, because if that job opens up, that's where Ryan Walters played, and I'd have to think that he'd be a very intriguing candidate for the Buffaloes to go over and take that head coaching job. But I'll be fine if Ryan Walters decides he wants to stay right here in Champaign-Urbana. His defense, Derek Piper, there's some funny that comes with this. This defense is only averaging or giving up 8 points a game. That's it. 8 points a game, right? That's only 4th in the Big Ten. I'm like, who's been better than that? So you've got Iowa at 3 points a game. You've got Minnesota at like 4.7, and then Wisconsin, who you play next, is giving up 8 points. So essentially you got Wisconsin and Illinois both coming in, giving up the 8 points. And, I mean, that's amazing what Ryan Walters has done with this. And it even more amazing is how bad this defense could have been the last 5 years, or the last, 5 or whatever years where Lovey was here. I don't understand how all of a sudden it could be this good.
And how Lovey got an NFL job out of that.
Right.
I mean, Ryan Walters is probably going to try to be – I mean, what's higher than that? I think that the way you look at it with Colorado, someone needs to get in the ear of Cordell Stewart and be like, you need to go into coaching. Colorado might hire you. If there's an opening. Try to see if he can jump the pecking order there. But, yeah, Ryan Walters has this as a top-notch – so far, a defense that looks like it's going to be top-notch in the Big Ten, and we know each and every year Iowa always has an elite defense. Wisconsin always has an elite defense. And to be in that conversation, knowing what you lost with Owen Carney as an edge rusher, with Jake Hansen in the middle, and also you get a draft pick in Kirby Joseph on the back end too, and just all around it at the front line where you got Johnny Newton and Keith Randolph, and now you got to throw in Gabe Yakus in there as well with what he's doing as a freshman, and on the back end as well with Devin Witherspoon, with Sidney Brown. There's just answers at each level of the defense that is exciting, and we know the guy that's scheming it all up is doing a great job as well.
He's doing wonderful with it. So it is one of those situations where you know this defense, after they did not allow a touchdown against Virginia, then to come back and shut out Chattanooga. I mean, now all of a sudden you've got 2 straight games without a touchdown, and I'm sitting there trying to think, when's the last time that happened at Illinois? I don't recall. I'm sure it's happened.
There's a lot of things that after last night you'd say, when's the last time that happened? When's the last time a quarterback threw for 330 yards? When's the last time you had 2 receivers go over 100? When's the last time you have a running back that's 100 yards every week? I mean, that's kind of the fun thing right now.
It's crazy, and let's talk about that offense. We're going to hear from Brett Bielema soon on just that, what you were just talking about. Chase Brown goes over 100 yards, 110 on the day, I believe, 108, 110, and that's the 5th straight week that Chase Brown has rushed for 100 yards. That's the first time that's ever happened in Illinois history. And let's be honest, I can dog Illinois history, but there's been some really good running backs that have come through here at the University of Illinois, including, oh, by the way, Red Grange back in the day.
Might have heard of him.
Yeah, may have heard of him, yeah. Jim Grabowski. I mean, just some really good names at running back, and all of a sudden, Chase goes over 100 now, 5 straight seasons, or weeks, excuse me. That's pretty solid. And when you know, Derek, that you can count on that now you try to get everything else flowing, but knowing that you've got Chase and knowing that he can go over 100 basically every week, that has got to be unbelievable for Barry Lunny Jr. to then understand how to kind of script the rest of the offense in games.
Yeah, it's a huge thing to be able to hang your hat on for sure. What the heck is this guy doing at Western Michigan? How are you able to? I don't know. This kind of talent being able to come over here, and you feel very fortunate now that you have an NFL running back. That's what he looks like right now.
I agree.
And, each and every week you can expect 100 yards, and if you can continue to get that against Wisconsin, against Minnesota, Iowa, that's going to be something that you can just elevate the floor of your offense. And I know we're going to talk about DeVito. I know we're going to talk about what they're establishing through the air as well to go with Chase Brown, but he does look like one of the premier backs, not only in the Big Ten, but maybe even in college football. I mean, the stats bear that out in terms of he went into last night the leading rusher in the FBS, and I don't think he hurt his cause going over 100 once again. Now it's interesting. It kind of feels like, and I'm not saying you're going to put too much pressure on yourself if you're Illinois, but you're probably going to lose that guy after this year.
Yeah.
Maybe you're going to lose Ryan Walters.
Yes.
Maybe this has to be your year because of what's clicking now and what the moving, shifting parts after this year. Maybe you got to make this your year.
Oh man, I don't even want to think about that. I'd be fine.
I don't want you stressing out here. This is supposed to be
exactly. Yeah, we're supposed to have fun right now.
A positive.
But Chase certainly is a guy. I mean, the move that he put on the one run where he went up the gut, shifted, and totally confused the guy, and then ended up breaking off about a 15-yard run to the right. When you go back and watch that, which I did today about 3 or 4 times, that is an NFL move. And that is a move that is so impressive. And then if you look back at his first touchdown, or his touchdown of the game, I mean, early on, it was the first TD for Illinois. He basically just sits there and drags 3 or 4 Chattanooga guys into the end zone with him because they were thinking he'd be down about the 3-yard line. He just drags them in. Chase is not only fast, he's elusive, and like Jay Lehman always says, somehow he can make these elusive moves but never lose speed. Like he keeps going at top-rate speed, and he's got the power behind it. He is a perfectly constructed – now, if he was 6'4", 6'5", that'd be a little bit better, right, in terms of the NFL. But he is, for this game and for the way offenses work now in both college and the NFL, I think he is a guy that some NFL team's going to be happy to get next year.
Right, he's super well-rounded as you're diagramming there. He's not going to have the fastest 40 time, the highest bench press of a running back. He's not the most powerful. He's not the fastest, but he just blends a good balance of he's he's good at a lot of things. Maybe not great at one thing, but I think that one thing that I know that Jay's been bringing up here recently, and you mentioned it again, is just the fact that he can cut and not feel like he's slowing down. I feel like his vision's only gotten better and better as he's matured as a running back, and he's also shown that he can carry a big load as a running back. I mean, there's something to be said for someone that's going to be able to take the ball 20, 25 carries throughout a game and not feel like they're wearing down when you're trying to have a lead and just lean on that running game. And he's certainly in as best of a condition as he's been at Illinois, and it's just been super impressive. And he's very deserving of all the accolades coming his way, and hopefully it is a first-round draft pick at the end of the line.
That'd be awesome. That'd be really awesome. And, of course, you mentioned it on the other end. Now Tommy DeVito, I mean, you got Barry Lunny Jr. saying, all right, I know this guy's going to go over 100, so now let me work with some other guys. Pat Bryant is turning into a star here. He is a guy that gets separation. I don't understand how he had that much separation last night on a couple of his receptions. And then, of course, Isaiah Williams does his thing, a great stiff arm, ends up going about 60 for a touchdown for him. But two receivers then over 100 yards. DeVito throws for 329. It's been a while there. 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. I mean, the passing game looked crisp. They were crisp routes. They were crisp throws, and they hit them in the numbers and in stride. And that's something that you haven't been used to for a few years. So credit Tommy DeVito for kind of engineering that. He looked really good last night.
He did look very, very good. I know the opponent is something that plays into it, and I think that. But anytime your quarterback throws for 330 yards, has a great completion percentage, and he was just taking advantage of what was being available there.
Sure.
They left him some window throws down the sideline that he was able to recognize and put on point. I think the way that there was one of those right by the goal line that he ultimately hit. He also showed some escapability in the pocket, being able to throw on the run. And I was looking at his stats right before the show, and when you have a quarterback right now, and I'm going to go on my completion percentage soapbox, but listen, when he right now is sitting at 69, nice completion percentage, almost 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions. And one thing that I know that people that were familiar with him at Syracuse said, look, he might throw the ball up for grabs, and look, there's going to be some better defense you're going to play, some tighter games where he maybe has to take some of those chances. But while you just watch the way he operated and coming off a bye week and being able to just get more familiar with this offense, these receivers, it was super encouraging. And the fact that Pat Bryant finally was able to really break out with Isaiah, I know that you pinpointed Isaiah going into this game as someone that should go over 100. That's exciting. That does make this offense more dynamic, and I think that hopefully DeVito can continue to build on it. But, yeah, it is funny where the bar is so low.
Right.
It's been so long since Illinois has just had a quality, middle-of-the-pack Big Ten quarterback, and maybe they have one now.
Yeah. I tell you what, he looks good to me. And there were a couple of plays, and you got to credit Barry Lunny Jr. again for some of these, but the old flea flicker and the way that was developed, you know, that's always fun to see 4 different guys touch the ball on one play. But the way that Marquez came out of the backfield there in the corner or the safety, I don't know which one it was for Chattanooga, had to freeze thinking that it was going to be on the run. And by that time, by the time he realized, wait, DeVito's got it, he's going to throw it, Marquez was well behind him and wide open. So you have to credit Barry Lunny Jr. for getting these guys in positions to make some great plays. And that's 2 weeks in a row now where Marquez, who knew that he would have this big of an impact? That guy's played 4 different positions at Illinois, but credit to Brett Bielema and the Illinois coaches for understanding what he could be as a tight end. And whether or not he's just in position every time for that play and he's rested because Ryman and Ford are sitting there doing all the blocking, I don't know. The point is that's 2 straight weeks that Marquez has broken loose for a touchdown, and they're pretty plays. And if you're Marquez, you've got to be sitting there thinking, well, this is the easiest thing in the world to catch touchdowns. He doesn't have anybody within 20 yards of him when he catches them. I mean,
when he's left wide open running up the sideline. And you do got to give credit to Barry Lunny Jr. for having creativity. I mean, there is something to be said for a coordinator has some confidence to make some creative calls when he trusts his quarterback. And when I think one thing that you should also mention on DeVito is in comparison to Brandon Peters, look, so far – it hasn't been as challenging as what it will be. I keep coming back to that, but I think his decision-making looks to be faster than what Brandon Peters was, and the way that he's able to release the ball. the time it takes to get the ball out of his hands was something that really held back Brandon Peters. And so far, I've been encouraged with what Tommy DeVito has been able to do. But yeah, like even the play that didn't work out at Indiana, the halfback pass. Love the call. I just think that ultimately if you would have got maybe one more block, then Chase can make the throw, and that's a touchdown in a big spot. And, yeah, some of these, the flea flicker, just some of these creative calls by Barry Leonard Jr., and you know that he's still got some others that he really likes that he hasn't shown the rest of the Big Ten, the teams that are still coming up on the schedule. So that's certainly fun, and it's hard when a defense is knowing that at some point they're going to see something that they weren't expecting, and that can go for a big play.
And that's a credit. What you just said is that normally you don't waste a play like that against Chattanooga, right? You use that play against Wisconsin, Iowa, down the road, Minnesota. But the fact that he used it, I think you said it perfectly. He's got other things in that playbook that he's willing to bring out for the Wisconsin. And plus, that kind of gives your defense on the other teams that are scouting Illinois the idea that, you know what, he's got some things up his sleeve. And, again, it all comes to me back to Chase Brown. When you've got a running back that is going to pound out the yards, get you really good situations on after first down where you're sitting there second and short, now the playbook just expands, right? And that's, again, so much credit that comes back to Chase Brown and what he's able to do, just knowing that you can rely on him to get you positive yardage on first down, to get you the tough yardage on third down if needed. It's just he's my MVP of this offense, obviously, leading rusher in the nation. That's a good call, Lon. Way to go out on a limb there.
Hot take.
Hot take. But it's just amazing to me how he has really stabilized the rest of this.
He does. He stabilizes it. He's able to, with his balance, with the way that you can trust him on any down to be able to pick up some valuable yards, and that should just make Tommy DeVito all the more comfortable. You imagine a guy coming in as a transfer and learning a new offense and new receivers and just have a back that, I can turn the ball to him, and he's just going to, by the way, through 4 games, lead the nation in rushing.
That's pretty nice.
A huge credit to Chase Brown. He's going to be a problem for the rest of the Big Ten, regardless of the fact that Wisconsin's had a stellar defense, Iowa. They're going to have to look at Chase Brown like one of the elite backs in college football, and he's certainly proved that.
We got some specials going on at Pia's today, and I need to get those out. We are live at Pia's Sports Bar and Grill. We'll be here until 6 o'clock tonight. They have some great drink specials. $4 Captain Morgan's. They have Miller Lite, Coors Light, 16-ounce bottles, $3. Dos Equis, Twisted Tea, those are $3. They have $3 Wells as well, and they have quarter-pound hot dogs fully loaded for $3. So we got you covered on both the food side and the drink side. The rain has stopped, I think. Everybody's under an umbrella, so we don't know. We're testing it. It has stopped. Oh, yeah, there's the one guy in the back. It has stopped. All right.
What more could you want?
That's good. So everybody get out. We still have a nice crowd. We appreciate everybody that's come out. A lot of people inside as well. So normally we hand out our prizes, hand out some free stuff. That is now all inside. So if you come out to visit us at Pia's, make sure you go into the bar to get something for yourself there. We just don't want it to get all wet out here, obviously, and everything's wet anyway. So a lot of specials going on. We'll be here until 6. When we come back, we'll hear a little bit from Brett Bielema and what he had to say about this. Some crazy stuff that it's kind of a funny quote, how like Chase Brown now is the first Illinois running back ever. I mean, think about that. Ever to go over 100 yards 5 straight games. So it's kind of funny to hear what Brett Bielema has to say about that, but we'll hear from your Illini coach when we come back. If you want to weigh in, you can on the U of I, Illini Lake text line. That's 217-359-2255. A little bit harder for you and I to see it today since we're on location, but Rob back in the studio, Rob Stone, always does a great job of sending us a picture if somebody sends in a question, and we can get that answered for you. But again, 359-2255. We won't be taking calls today on the Dick Van Dyke Appliance World phone line, but that's the same number to get in touch with that. Cardinals are on tonight, streaming. The Yankees are on tonight.
Can you do 2 streaming rants in the same week? Can you pull off another one?
So, everybody that doesn't get the streaming, which I do, I'm just proving a point.
I get
that
it.
Now all of a sudden Aaron Judge could break the American League record for home runs, and a certain population of the country will not see it. Or Albert Pujols could hit 2 home runs tonight to get to 700, and a certain population of America won't see it because we're streaming the games on what? Apple? I don't even know what it's on. Amazon Prime, that was the football game last night. I don't know. I have no idea, but I don't know that I'm ready for the future is what I'm saying. If they start saying you got to get Bud Light, you've got to go in through this website and do all, I'll just be like, well, I'm done drinking, I guess, which would really stink. Actually, I'd go to the trouble to figure that one out. Miller Lite, Coors Light, whatever. I will definitely go to find out how to get that. I don't want to end that. All right, we're going to be here until 6. Come out and join us. Brett Bielema, you'll hear from him next. We are live at Pia's. It is College Game Day on The Drive.
Congratulations to Sarah Champagne. Sarah Honda has won the President's Award. This is an award recognizing the best Honda dealerships in America. Sarah Honda has achieved excellence in sales, service, and customer satisfaction. When you go into Sarah Champagne, you'll see what winning the Honda President's Award means with their outstanding focus on you. Visit Sarah Champagne and experience excellence with not only Honda, but GMC, Buick, BMW, and Subaru. Sarah Champagne, off Neal at Burwash in Savoy.
PDR Automotive in Urbana is a locally owned repair shop, and they've now serviced over 250,000 vehicles in their near 50-year history. Now, that's more than 4 times the size of a sold-out Memorial Stadium. It's more than all Division I athletes in the country combined. That's more than the entire population of Champaign County. That's more than, well, you get the idea. When you turn the key and the car won't run, call 367-9481. They are what's best for your truck or car. They are PDR.
Like most banks, we offer an app that lets you do pretty much everything you need from your pocket. But at Iroquois Federal, we believe great banking is less about the app you tap and more about what you tap into. And for us, that's a hometown bank where decisions are made locally by the same folks you'll bump into on the bleachers at the next big game, providing the hometown touch that's made us part of the community for nearly 140 years. Iroquois Federal. Still friendly, still local, still here. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
When you make the right decision, it feels good, like picking the perfect accent rug or choosing a good night's sleep over an all-night crime show binge. It feels really good to make the right insurance decision, too. That's why State Farm agent Kurt Lenschow is right here in Champaign-Urbana to help you select the right protection at the right price. Kurt will make sure you understand your State Farm coverages so you'll know what to expect if the unexpected happens. Just call him when you want the real deal. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
We all have a mission in life, something that drives us to explore, to grow, to love. And when we discover it, we're made whole. At OSF Healthcare, we want you to be the best you possible. We're here for you on your schedule to make your life just a little bit easier. Whatever your mission is, we're here to support it. Your life, our mission. Learn more at osfhealthcare.org/mission.
Hey, could you tell me what aisle your car batteries are in?
Sure, I'll go grab one for you. Here's your battery. It might be expired, but oh well. Also, the brand isn't that great, but it should work for at least a year or two, maybe. Anyways, I went ahead and charged you for it, and here's the battery. Okay, have a great day.
What just happened?
Sometimes good things are hard to find, but they're worth the wait. Make the trip out to Interstate All Battery Center at 2504 North Madison Avenue and get all of your battery needs taken care of by the trusted professionals. Give them a call today at 355-4855.
If you need insurance, you gotta go to Insurance Providers Group. They can help you like they've helped me. Hi, it's Jay Lehman. Insurance Providers Group can get you a quote on all aspects of personal, business, agricultural, life, and health insurance and employee benefits. They represent many insurance companies that allow them to provide you with the most competitive rates and the best coverage. Call Kyle Lewis at 217-352-7080 or email Kyle at ipgins.com or go to the website for a quote at ipgins.com.
Flowers equals smiles equals happiness. Think love with flowers. The Blossom Basket florist can put a smile on everyone's face with a beautiful spring floral creation. Let their flowers make you a hero. Flowers are always affordable for all occasions, from simple to simply magnificent. Visit them online at blossombasket.com or come into their store at 1002 North Cunningham Avenue in Urbana.
The Blossom Basket florist, the florist you pick.
Hey, Line fans, it's Georgia B at Stevie J Broadcasting, and you are listening to the amazing ESPN Radio 93.5.
Yeah, we are live at Pia's. It is The Drive with Tay and Piper. It's college game day. We're getting you ready for college games tomorrow, but of course it's Friday and we're already done with Illinois this week. So thus far in 4 weeks, we've had a Friday night game and now we've had a Thursday night game. Are they all going to be Saturdays from now on? Until the bowl game?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, that's good. That's good. I just like that kind of idea.
Until the bowl games, you're feeling good, huh?
I'm feeling good about it.
All right.
I mean, you said it, Nebraska. That is a you-know-what show right now. So you feel good about that one. Northwestern just lost to my Dogs.
They did.
I mean, and listen, don't ever mess with SIU. I'm telling you right now, don't mess with the Dogs. But, okay, so you look ahead at those two. Well, there's 5 wins. And then now you just got to figure out a way to get through, one more game, right? One more win. But I don't want to just I'm tired of the point of just trying to get to 6, right? I mean, it's hard enough, and I get it because we can't ever get there seemingly. But won't it be nice to just say, all right, let's figure out the path to 8 wins or 9 wins or kind of like you said.
It'd be
with
fun.
Minnesota
It'd make these shows
ago.
a lot more intriguing. Now that they aren't already super, must listen to.
Right. It's just nice when your team's winning. Let's be honest.
It is.
The other
Tough
thing,
October, though.
Yes.
As we got coming up,
Big
at
time.
Wisconsin to kick off the month, Iowa at home, Minnesota at home, and then at Nebraska.
Now, the Iowa game falls the day before my birthday because we know the sparkling record.
We know what that means.
That Illinois has on my birthday. Like 5 straight decades, they've won a game they shouldn't on my birthday. It's pretty impressive.
Your birthday's a Friday, right?
No, mine would be Sunday. So
it's the day
Arizona
before.
Cardinals
Sorry,
are gonna,
gotcha.
Yeah. No, it's the 8th is the game, and then mine's the 9th. So next year.
So we'll bet the Cardinals.
Yeah,
that
we're betting
weekend.
big time on the Cardinals. Put all your money on the Cardinals, and you can do that with BetUS. BetUS.com. Just use promo code 935. And when you go on there, use the promo code 935. You get extra money. And then you could use the extra money. So let's say you put 100 in. They give you 100. You keep your 100. But use that extra money on the Lante birthday factor.
We'll have to see if BetUS will do a boost for us because you can go into like some competitors, which we're recommending BetUS instead. But if you were to go to say FanDuel or DK, there's going to be a show or a celebrity that's giving out this pick, and then they're going to boost the odds for you. So on Lante's birthday, they should boost the odds for Cardinals to win.
I like it.
And let's just have everybody go on there and get that done.
Where 99.9% of the country would be like, who is Lante? I don't know who that is, but it sounds like he wins on his birthday. So I'll do it. That would be me as a you know me long enough, my betting past. I mean, you'd be like, oh, yeah, Lon's probably going to bet that boost. I guarantee you it's going to happen. But, yeah, some big games coming up, and I definitely want to talk about that. This next stretch of games for Illinois, starting with Wisconsin, and I know that's all the storyline, right, with Brett Bielema going back to Wisconsin where he had been. He had a great bite about that last night saying, hey, I always feel like if you're going to be a successful person, then you had to have success along the way. And he certainly doesn't hide from the fact that he had a lot of success with the Badgers, won a lot of games. He still has a lot of friends there. But he also pointed out, hey, I played at Iowa, I coached at Iowa, I coached at Kansas State. He's like, I like all those places. I mean, those are places that I did a lot of good stuff. But sounds like he's turned down numerous national media responsibilities that wanted to focus on Brett Bielema going back to Wisconsin. And Brett Bielema's like, it's not about me going back to Wisconsin. It's about this team going there and hopefully doing some damage. So we'll see what happens, but certainly with Wisconsin on the road, and then you back that up with 2 huge games against Iowa and Minnesota, I mean, you could arguably, I know there's an at Michigan in there, so I totally get that. But with regards to just the West Division, your 3 most important games of the season are coming up, staring you right in the face, I believe.
They absolutely are. And that makes it even more important for what Tommy DeVito and that passing offense was able to do last night, because Wisconsin and Iowa are truly 2 of the top defenses in the country, going to lock in on Chase Brown and see if you can just put Tommy DeVito in a situation where he can make some throws, maybe early downs where they're expecting run off the play action, and just not asking him to put up 35.
Right.
I expect Ryan Walters' defense, and those are 2 teams that have some issues of their own offensively,
No
scoring
doubt.
points, having quality quarterback play. But I think that is a good reason why you come off this game, feel confident. We all know that there's going to be extra time to prepare for Wisconsin.
Yep.
Wisconsin, I wonder how they'll respond, because you can spin it different ways. Going to Columbus, playing Ohio State, such a huge game. Is there going to be just maybe even not even an emotional letdown, because most likely I think we're all expecting Ohio State to win, maybe even win big. That might be an angry Wisconsin team going back home and then seeing Illinois. But you would imagine maybe a physical letdown in what could be if it's a close game and they got to give everything they have, and then it's a quicker turnaround for them versus Illinois. But, yeah, I know Brett Bielema was going to downplay all week long, but I think internally he would – if he was going to be honest with you, if you're sitting back, if he was here at Pia's with us having a beer and he was being honest, which he should. If he's listening right now, it's an off day.
Come on, Coach.
Tell us that, he'd love nothing more.
He'll come by.
I know, he would.
That would be awesome.
He would love nothing more than to get a win there and in his homecoming, a place where he, like I said, his last 3 years there he went to 3 straight bowl games, or
That's
3
awesome.
straight Rose Bowls, not even just bowl games. So I know that it seems like a really tall task when you start to talk about it, just kind of the initial preview, but would it be that much different than upsetting Penn State on the road last year?
No, I don't think so.
It's just that was kind of the later in the season last year against Penn State. Oh, nice win. Was that a fluke? I think the good thing for Illinois fans, as you kind of looked and saw the way the dominoes fell down the stretch, maybe it didn't really seem like a fluke.
I agree.
The way the defense dominated, the way you were able to just play your style of football, running it. Maybe that's just what you're asking for, and that's what Brett Bielema can say. Hey, we got this kind of a win last year. We just have so much more to play for now, how we set ourselves up.
And I think for me, too, and I think it's the recent history, right, of playing at Wisconsin where it just doesn't end well. I mean, that's normally the case. It just doesn't end well, but you would hope, and I think Brett Bielema would tell his squad, don't let the Wisconsin loss mean an Iowa loss at home or a Minnesota loss at home. I mean, that's a Minnesota team. You went and dominated at their place last year, and that was a team that was coming off a 10-win season or 11. Then you've got an Iowa team who it seems like you've played as well as anybody without winning for the last decade. I mean, you can't play any better against Iowa, or at least more competitive against them, without actually being rewarded with the victory. So it's well past time to make sure that we get the Hawkeyes on that. So, I mean, yeah, just the possibilities of what could happen. I know we're looking ahead here, but certainly with this team and what they've done defensively, as mentioned, 8 points a game. That's all they're giving up so far through 4 games. The other teams that are ahead of them in the Big Ten, Wisconsin even with them at giving up 8 points a game. That's their average, and that's early, and that's one less game, mind you. And then, of course, you've got Minnesota averaging, they've given up like 5 points a game, and then Iowa like 3. That's amazing that those 4 teams are getting ready now.
Coincidentally enough, not to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
Iowa's also averaging like 3 points a game too, so it's kind of been a balancing act.
They're winning 3-2. Well, the 2 safeties got them a victory the 1 week, 7-3 or whatever it was. But it's like, what in the world is going on with them? But the thing that makes it nice is not only with Ryan Walters in that defense, but also offensively what has been happening. And Rob Stone, I'm going to let you here in a second play the clip that we have with Brett Bielema. But the idea that Chase Brown is doing these things, the receivers last night, there's just a lot of things really popping right now for this program. And Brett Bielema alluded to that in the postgame last night.
When I first got the call from Josh, I just thought Illinois could be something that hasn't been in a while, right? And like just blown away today, I find out, Chase, first time a running back in the University of History, had rushed 5 games for 100 yards. I had no idea that's kind of just what we do, right? Ever since I've been head coaching, like you're going to have a guy rush for 100 yards. That's how you win football games. Today was the first time 2 receivers went over 100 yards, and we had a 100-yard running back. That's the first time in program history. Like, those are stats that I can't believe they're first. But we're not there. We're a 3-1 team, but I am excited about where we're at. I think we're just beginning to understand who we are. I really like the way this group works. I think they're going to be a very easy group to coach going into Wisconsin next week, and they're playing hungry. But this is our second rematch game, and I'm excited to see where we end up.
That is Brett Bielema, of course, talking about all the stuff that's happening. You get the feeling, listening to Coach, that he truly does believe this is a pretty nice team. And he's been saying it, right? He's been saying it all along that this team could do some damage. And it was hard for me. Well, first of all, I've got a lot of years of watching teams not do damage. But it was hard for me because I thought, well, you lost all these super seniors. Why would it make sense now that this next crew is going to be better? But certainly so far it has looked good. And I understand Chattanooga, I get that. Wyoming, not a very good team. certainly that's the case. And you do lose to Indiana on the road, and we don't know yet quite how good Indiana is, although they're undefeated. They've got Cincinnati tomorrow. That should be a fun one to kind of gauge where they're at. But, this Virginia game, that's a year later after getting smoked by Virginia, and then to come out and do what they did, not give up a touchdown, and then do it again by not giving up a touchdown against Chattanooga. It just seems like there are plausible things happening, Derek, that are proving what Coach Bielema is saying, that this team is better than last year and this team has the makings of maybe doing some damage down the road. We're going to find out the next 3 weeks.
We are going to find out. I know that we expected that you'd probably have equal to, hopefully, we all hoped that we'd see better quarterback play than what Illinois had last year with Brandon Peters, Art Sitkowski, by Tommy DeVito showing up. And then for having Barry Lunny Jr. replace Tony Peterson, you figured that at least would elevate from year to year. But there were reasons to then see some steps back when you lose 2 all Big Ten offensive linemen.
No doubt.
You lose Owen Carney, your leading sack guy. You lose Jake Hansen there in the middle.
Daniel Barker
also, and guys in the secondary. So I'll admit it to even saying it, I felt like there was, I don't know, I didn't completely write it off that Illinois' defense could be as good as last year. I just thought it would be a mild surprise. I thought that they would take a step back. The question was how big of one.
Yeah.
So far, it's not been any step back. They've actually been better. And then so far offensively, you're seeing Chase Brown be even better than he has been. You do got to credit the offensive line mixing in with that. And so far, Tommy DeVito has been a superior quarterback than what Brandon Peters has been here recently. So you hope that Pat Bryant continues to emerge, continues to break through as imagine having 2 wide receivers versus maybe even one sometimes. It's just, you hope that this is all just the indications of what's going to go forward when the competition stiffens up. You hope that it's not going to be a smack of reality in the face when you go to Wisconsin, Iowa comes in, then Minnesota, and all of a sudden it's like, well, then we've taken 3 straight losses. Are we really that much better? But right now you understand the optimism, and I think there are the signs, as he talked about, when you start to do some things for the first time in a while, that says that you are in a position to be as good as you think you are.
We're going to play a clip coming up here, Rob, with Bielema, and it's basically 3 different segments where he's asked some questions, but he talks about Tommy DeVito. You mentioned him and what DeVito so far has shown you with the quick reaction as opposed to it seemed like Brandon Peters would just always wait like an extra second. And a lot of times that was the difference. Didn't throw many interceptions, give him credit for that. But certainly DeVito, who isn't throwing interceptions as well, he's got he's had one. But it's just one of those where he's making the right read and he's making it on time. The other thing is Gabe Yakus, who is a freshman who's now had to step in with the injury to Ezekiel Holmes, and he's got 3 sacks in the last 2 games for the freshman, and he looks like somebody that's going to be really good for this Illini team. Then, of course, you mentioned Pat Bryant, who has really stepped up and has just kind of separated himself as that second best receiver and even maybe the go-to guy sometimes, especially on the outside corner. So with those 3, those are just 3 guys that kind of Brett Bielema highlighted last night, and guys that are helping in this second year really elevate this Illinois team, and we hope it continues, as you mentioned. But let's play that clip, Rob, with Brett Bielema now talking about those 3 guys.
Tommy is, and you guys found out, right? But, for heaven's sakes, that first game, right, he finds out after the game that he loses his grandmother, right? And then he went home during the bye week and celebrated her life, right? So Tommy is the more I'm around him, the more I'm just very impressed with who he is, what he represents. I think as a skill set, he has, all the tools that you want a quarterback to have, and he also has the intangibles. So we're 4 games into the Barry Lunny offense, right? And I think you begin to see how that thing can click. I've seen it in practice, but I really challenged our guys. Actually, on Thursday's practice, I didn't like the way we kind of ended, so I made the offense stay out and do extra reps and play a little bit cleaner, and I'm glad I did because I think you saw that today in the way they executed.
Which I think this is the first career start for Gabe Yakus. What did you see from his play today, and what's kind of the ceiling for that kid?
Gabe is strong, athletic. It was kind of Kevin and I were kind of having this conversation. Even though he's a rookie, first start, like you said, like he just does not get wowed by the moment. He's, his mom raised an incredible kid. His brother is very influential in his life, and he's a very serious kid that nothing really phases him. He's got a great sense of humor, demeanor, very engaged. But I also looked at our defense. I believe defensively we have 6 guys from the state of Florida that start for us, right? So just another great addition of, during our bye week, I'm going to go down to Florida for 2 days. I found my wife from Florida. So obviously I've been very well in life in Florida, and hopefully that part is going to continue to grow because those players have been a huge impact in this program.
It looks like Pat gives you that kind of down the field playmaking. How have you seen him build to this moment? So
as you guys see, Pat's a big, athletic, strong hands, can run through tackles. He's got a longer stride, so it may not look like he's running as fast as he truly is, but we're just scratching the surface of what he's going to be. I think he's a nice complement to Isaiah. And then you saw that was kind of a neat sight on that far sideline when Isaiah took it off and they were running stride for side there. 2 different kind of stride lengths, but 2 guys that cover a lot of ground. So I'm excited to see those guys continue to grow. You throw that in a combination of, Chase with Josh McCray. I think Josh is very close to getting back here with us. And then obviously Reggie, I thought, did some nice things in there today. Our tight ends continue to be productive. I'm excited about the growth of our O-line. I think this offense is something that can be special.
Brett, you've obviously coached some really good defenses. What do you think this group?
I was not prepared for that. That's my fault. I had my headphones off. Drying some stuff off here, but it's not raining, so get out here to Pia's. Brett Bielema talking about those guys. Again, the guy I keep coming back to, Gabe Yakas. I mean, he is – I feel like I've said his name different every time. But he is just, for a freshman, a true freshman, to be able to do what he's doing right now. And I know, like Bielema says, he's like he doesn't – the moment's not too big for him. And I think, Illinois has had some really good pass rushers in the history of this program, Whitney Merciless being a recent one for sure. But I just think this kid, in the future here, if everything goes right, he's going to be one guy that a lot of Big Ten teams are not going to be happy that he's back for his sophomore year, his junior year, or maybe not even his senior year if he keeps regressing like he is.
Yeah, and we've mentioned it before, the fact that it's one of those recruits that has another Power 5 offer in Tennessee. And, I mean, he wasn't a 4- or 5-star type of talent, but someone that had some other looks. But, look, let's be honest, it's very hard for – really, in football in general, it's very rare we see true freshmen, especially at Illinois with the way they're not bringing in the 5 stars. We've seen it with Aurelius Ben at one point where a true freshman comes in and really pops in year one. Mikey Dudek,
Yep.
Friend of the show.
Yeah.
But for the most part,
should have had him on today.
It's a hard thing to do. We should.
I didn't even think about it.
But I don't know if you'd make the drive down. That'd be one thing.
Yeah, that's true.
We do need to get him on soon, though.
Maybe next week.
Yeah,
maybe next week.
I mean, especially after the receiving position shows up for the in a big way. Let's book that for next hour.
I like it.
Next hour, next show. But yeah, Gabe Yakas, it's very, very impressive. You hope that it continues against some Big Ten offensive linemen when he's going to be rushing that edge and against the tackles of Wisconsin and Iowa and Minnesota. But at a need position where we're sitting there the first couple of games and no sacks, not enough pressures, and wondering, maybe this team really is going to miss Owen Carney a bunch. Right. But for Yakas to go in there and do some very, very good things, it's been huge for this team.
How are you going to look at this Wisconsin game coming up? Are you going to put a ton of stock in it to the idea, a couple of different things? I don't think Wisconsin is as good this year as they have been, right? Let's be honest. But we have seen that working its way into a house of horrors, for Illinois in the past and for a lot of teams that go into Madison. But this would be, obviously, if you win that game, would be almost like a program changer to a degree. And again, we've always talked about when you beat Wisconsin here a few years ago, it just seemed a little fluky, right? I mean, you still won the game, and that's awesome, and you have to give credit to that crew. But if you could go up to Madison and do what you did last year in Minneapolis, essentially, where you kind of control the game and you're always in it, you're always in the lead. I'm not saying you have to do that. But are you looking at this game like, number one, I think Illinois does have a shot. I really, truly do. But if Illinois would not win the game, I mean, how are you going to look at that and kind of go into the game? Are you going into it with the idea that, yep, we're going to win this game? Or is this one of those where it's like, let's just go see where we really are as a football team for this season? I think that's probably where you're at.
Right. I think it's one of those just let's go see what this team's about and where we stack up against the preseason favorite in the Big Ten West. And I do fully agree with you. I think that Wisconsin is more vulnerable now and even in the last year or two than they have been, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, because Graham Mertz, outside of the one game against Lovie Smith's defense, has left a lot to be desired, has not lived up to the hype. And, I fully respect their defense. Jim Leonard's one of the best defensive minds out there. We've talked a lot about that. That's why we kind of tabbed him as the one that Josh Whitman should go after and get. And then Braylon Allen is a fantastic running back for them. But they are one-dimensional offensively. It's a really tough place to play. I won't be going in thinking that Illinois should win the game by any means. I will be hoping that they'll be competitive and be in the game. And look, but at the same time, I won't deny, if they do go in and win that game, and as I just mentioned, I don't think it's that much of a different task than going to Penn State last year.
That's a great
where
call.
You're going to see 90 to 100,000 and be able to pull off that win, as shocking as it was, because then you'd set yourself up to be 4-1 and come home and have Iowa, who we know their offensive struggles, and then Minnesota, the team that at that point, if you win that game, you're looking eye to eye with them. You're at the point of, it would be a program-changing win. Start to then, we could actually win the Big Ten West. Maybe this could be our year. And things would get really exciting at that point. I mean, I was going to ask you, what's the attendance if you come back home? If you go on the road, you beat Wisconsin, what's Memorial Stadium look like? Illinois, Iowa at home, 4-1 off of that big win.
It would explode. I think the attendance would explode, 50,000 plus. I really, really feel that would be the case, especially, number one, you've got Iowa coming in, so that's a pretty easy one to get fired up for, right? But also, if you're coming off a game like that with Wisconsin, I was disappointed last night with the 37. I'm not disappointed in anybody that doesn't come to the game. I understand there's 100 things going on, your mind activities and stuff. When you miss the one night game, that's special, man. It's special under the lights of Memorial Stadium. So if you weren't able to go in last night, I hate that for you because it was a special night. But, I think it would explode. I think 50,000 plus for Iowa, and it would be fun to get back in that stadium to see that for sure.
It would.
All right, Rob is cute, so we got to take our end-of-the-hour break. We're going to be here all next hour. Basketball. Illinois basketball is doing some things this weekend. We'll touch on that and more about Illinois football. It's College Game Day Live on The Drive. Back next hour.
Hi, this is Steve from Good Vibes.
And I'm Luke Goody, your favorite guard.
You know, Luke, you're the go-to guy when we need that corner three.
And I know Good Vibes is the go-to place when you want a great TV.
That's right, Luke. Our mission is to make your shows and games look and sound live.
Sounds simple, but you have to really put in the work to be good at anything.
You got that right. I can tell by your defense, hundreds of hours of serious practice are behind it.
I guess in 50 years, Good Vibes has a few hundred hours getting good at-home entertainment as well.
Lots of practice, a talented team, and the best equipment, like LG OLED TVs.
Same here. My teammates, the gym, and the coaches all make me and my game better.
But you have to want to be the best. That comes from inside and can't be taught. I think you, me, and LG have that in common. I can't wait to watch you on the court this fall.
Crossroads Contractor Supply, bringing us our Stevie J Broadcasting Law Enforcement Official of the Month.
From the University of Illinois Police Department, he is Pete Milinovic, a police officer. What's it like and what don't they know?
I don't think they know how much we are aware the preciousness of our job and what our responsibilities are. Everyone knows, there's a good chance I'm not going to go home and see my family again, and I'm okay with that as long as it's saving someone else's family. From the outside looking in, that's a very scary risk, but that's a burden I'm honored to carry. I want to be that person. When your family's in trouble, I want them to see that when we come there, that the relief, that we're going to do whatever it takes, even if it takes the ultimate sacrifice, to make sure they're safe. I'm going to show up every day, no matter what, won't hesitate. And I know every man and woman wearing the badge in our department feels the same way.
Crossroads Contractor Supply, delivering within a 150-mile radius of Champaign-Urbana, supporting our Law Enforcement Official of the Month.
If you want a steak, I mean a steak, prepared the way you want it, you've got to go to Long Branch Steakhouse. Hi, it's Jay Lehman. It's been over a year since I was introduced to Donnie at the Long Branch Steakhouse in Gifford. And when I want a great steak, That's where I go. And the sides, the Brussels sprouts, the mac and cheese, and the salad with Donnie's secret frog dressing. Long Branch Steakhouse in downtown Gifford. Open Wednesday through Saturday from 5 to 9 p.m. There's always room for the Long Branch Steakhouse.
Illinois football is back. Shop at Game Day Spirit this fall and gear up to support your Fighting Illini football team. With great football designs and brand new apparel from top brands, they're the one-stop shop to get everything you need this football season. Shop with them at the corner of Neal and Kirby in Champaign, 6th and Green in Campustown, and online 24/7 at GameDaySpirit.com. Game Day Spirit, where Illini fans shop.
You're listening to WSJK ESPN 93.5 Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Depression 9 inches closer. Fox's Rick Reichmuth says the path is still uncertain, but
most of our guidance is showing us that we're going to see some sort of landfall across parts of Cuba, western Cuba, and then in towards Florida. This could be as early as Tuesday, potentially into Wednesday. Maybe this goes to the east side of Florida, but most of our guidance is that the peninsula of Florida having some sort of a storm Tuesday, Wednesday. And once this storm gets in towards the western parts of the Caribbean, the conditions are very ripe for rapid intensification. So we could be seeing a storm that is very strong across Cuba and then across Florida. So this weekend is the time you need to be getting your ideas and getting your preps ready.
This is Fiona, which devastated Puerto Rico, is poised to soak northeastern Canada. The Canadian Hurricane Center issued a hurricane watch for the coast of Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, and Newfoundland. President Biden out with a statement as voting begins in Ukraine on Russian annexation. The president saying in part the United States will never recognize Ukrainian territory as anything other than part of Ukraine.
These referendums have been condemned by the Ukrainians and their Western allies, who say President Putin will use the annexation of this territory to garner internal support. The Russian leader facing mounting pressure after announcing the mobilization of 300,000 people to fight in Ukraine. One Russian newspaper believes that number could be closer to 1 million.
Fox's Trey Inkst in Kyiv. Fears of a recession send Wall Street into a bear market territory for a time. The Dow gained back some of its losses, though it closed down 486 points.
The Dow Jones Industrials sub 30,000 now, and it's the lowest close that we've seen for the Dow Jones Industrial since November 2020. So that means that the last 2 years of gains have been wiped out.
Susan Lee with Fox Business. America is listening to Fox News.
When you're an innovative business, every blinking cursor, every blank page is an opportunity. What will you do with it? Will you make something better or create something new? Our Dell Technologies advisors provide you with tools and expertise to do incredible things. Because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel V Pro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
The roar of our engines, the pump of our heartbeats, the pedal to our metal, the sparks that ignite us, the pistons that push us, the passions that drive us. From the feelings that move us to the places that pull us on the roads that unite us. With nearly 6,000 stores and over 17,000 auto care centers, Napa has America's largest network of parts and care, here to keep you firing on all cylinders.
A federal jury rules against Project Veritas in a civil lawsuit.
A federal jury in D.C. awarding $120,000 in damages to Democracy Partners, which worked for Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign through the DNC, in which a Project Veritas journalist in 2016, posing as an intern, secretly recorded video of the group suggesting they were planning to provoke violence by supporters of Donald Trump at his rallies. The videos Democracy Partners say were edited, which Project Veritas founder James O'Keefe denies, vowing an appeal, saying the jury verdict endangers hidden camera investigations, that journalism is on trial, and that Project Veritas will not be intimidated. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
New York City Mayor Eric Adams says he plans to erect tents the size of airplane hangars for temporary shelter for thousands of migrants being sent to the city by Texas Governor Greg Abbott. A major retailer with new rules for holiday returns.
Retailing giant Walmart wants to be the top pick for consumers when it comes to holiday shopping, launching 3 no concerns return options, including extended return windows through the end of January for customers who are looking to get an early start on their Christmas shopping, curbside returns, and starting next month, free pickups from homes of Walmart Plus members when they want to make a return with no box or label necessary. The company says it would add 40,000 seasonal and full-time employees to the payroll as it heads into the holiday season. Lillian Wu, Fox News.
A bargain hunter at an estate sale in Maine ended up with more than the electric mixer he was looking for. Will Sideri said while at the sale, a framed document with Latin script and musical notations caught his eye. Academics say it came from a Roman Catholic liturgy used in a cathedral in France and dates to the late 15th century. I'm Lisa Silasara. This is Fox News.
Here's a look at local news. I'm Joe Miller. With Champaign Central High set to host a varsity football game at McKinley Field Saturday, City of Champaign announced a series of parking restrictions around the field meant to accommodate the neighbors. Parking permits will be distributed to neighbors who display in their cars so they can gain access to the neighborhood if they're traveling in or out during the game. University of Illinois making its facilities and services department a little greener with the addition of 2 electric trucks to its fleet. The 2 trucks the U of I will receive are among the first to be delivered in the region. One of the trucks will be used to move tradespeople to their job sites on campus. University of Illinois Board of Trustees announced Thursday it approved the new operating budget for the current academic year. The budget for all 3 universities in the system, $7.6 billion, a 6.5% increase from last year's $7.18 billion budget. This is the second consecutive year of increased financial support for the university system. You're up to date from the Stevie J Broadcasting Newsroom. I'm Joe Miller.
For Martinez, getting swallowed up. He loses the football. Scoop and sprint. There goes Kelvin Hart. Touchdown, Illinois. There's Chase Brown in the flat. Cuts it back. Chase Brown up the sideline. Brought down inside the 15. Isaiah Williams, the man in motion. Give it to Josh McCray. And McCray slips a tackle inside the 20. Stiff arm inside the 10. Touchdown, Illinois.
First look at the barge formation.
Got linemen everywhere. Isaiah Williams to the edge with a cut and the touchdown.
Ryman, the tight end. Lead blocker for Brown, who steps on it. Brown! Touchdown! Reynolds picked off. No! Yes, it was Keith Randolph Jr. who held on. Rolls out into the end zone. It is caught. Casey Washington's got it. Illinois pulled off the upset. For the Fighting Illini, and they are going to get the Land of Lincoln trophy. They are taking Abe Lincoln's hat, keeping it here in Champaign. Brett Bielema snaps the 6-game losing streak to Northwestern.
The idea of year 2, knowing our roster a little bit better.
We don't talk about being physical. That's what we do. Couldn't be more excited for 2022. ILL.
ILL.
ILL, baby.
It is College Game Day, and we are live at Pia's doing something we've never done before in the sense that normally we are here the day before the Illinois game, Illinois football, but today we are here the day after as Illinois gets it done last night, 31-0 against Chattanooga, 31. They're now 3-1. And a big showing by the offense and obviously a shutout thrown up by Ryan Walters' defense. We touched on it in the first hour with Ryan Walters. He played football at Colorado, right? And I don't think the Buffaloes are doing very well right now. So we need to root for Colorado to keep winning games because Ryan Walters, his salary now 7 figures, but I don't know how much you'd have to keep going up there to keep him away from another job opportunity. But certainly there's games ahead here, Pipes, where we're going to see a little bit more about what this team is all about when you've got Wisconsin, and then you've got Iowa, and then you've got Minnesota. Now, as we've mentioned, those teams aren't exactly tearing it up offensively, but you've got some good games coming up that we know that those teams will present problems. We'll see what happens as we continue to do it, but it's just amazing what Ryan Walters and this defense continues to do. And that back four, that the back of that defense, like Coach Bielema said last night, because of how good they are, we can now do a lot of crazy stuff up front. Stunts, bring pressure, maybe step back from pressure. They can do so many things up front because of that secondary. But overall, the defense just continues to be an unbelievable thing here at Illinois.
Yeah, it's incredible when you go from being one of the worst defenses in all of the NCAA under Lovie Smith, and each and every year you're giving up 30-plus on a regular basis, getting thrashed through the air, having running backs have career days as well.
Yep.
And now you're at the point where you're comparing an Illinois defense to Wisconsin, to Iowa, like the standards in the Big Ten West are some of the best defenses out there in college football. So he continues to impress. It's not only just his scheme, but also there's some player development going on. These guys are getting better. You've seen some of the faces have been the same. Even like a Sidney Brown was on the back end for some really bad defenses. So I don't know what else to say. It's just you just kind of are in amazement of what Ryan Walters is putting together, and the fact that they haven't given up a touchdown in 2 games speaks to just how dominant they have been. And, yeah, you mentioned it there with the back end of Devin Witherspoon, Quan Martin, who comes up with an interception last night. And Sidney's a playmaker. I mean, he can thump you with a big hit in the run game and also be able to break up some passes and be in the right spots there. So that's been fun. I was hurting a little bit for our guy Keith Randolph where he picks up the fumble and is running and going. He gets stripped, and unfortunately that went right back to Chattanooga. Keith is such a funny guy and a really talented player, going to be playing. I know that those that know football more than we do say he's going to play on Sundays one of these days, but that one hurt me a little bit. I'm sure everybody out there is like, oh, dang, Keith. We knew how glowingly he talked about his one interception last year. He that was like the best thing that's ever happened to him. So this one, that had to hurt when he had that stripped away last night.
I'm glad you brought that up because I forgot to bring that up in the first hour, but you could see how devastated he was. I mean, he was sitting there, he had his hands on his helmet, he just overreacting essentially, mad at himself because he made the great interception and gets it stripped. But, again, a big night for him. Jer'Zhan Newton continues to dominate. 8 tackles last night, a sack, a tackle for loss, I think 1.5 of those. Seth Coleman had a tackle for loss and a sack. Then, of course, Gabe Yakis is, as we mentioned in the first hour, with a sack as well. He now has 3 in the last 2 games. It's just amazing. And the other thing that Ryan Walters would tell you, it's kind of like that quarterback that gets all the credit or all the blame, right, if your team's going well or not. But I think Ryan Walters would tell you the guys that he has coaching, Aaron Henry on that back end, Kevin Kane, obviously, Andy Boo, those coaches are just really getting things done in practice and developing. And I think that's what we always kind of overlooked, or not overlooked. I think that's the one thing that was always kind of missing with Lovie Smith and that staff. It just didn't seem like the development was there, because there's a lot of these players that are Lovie Smith guys. I mean, Brett Bielema even mentioned, that we got 6 Florida guys on our defense, and he's getting ready to go back down to Florida, and he's like, why wouldn't I go down there? It's been really good to us and continues to be good to us now. So, but I think just the development of this coaching staff and how solid it is, and that's the idea, I guess. I mean, when you look at what you had last year in Tony Peterson, you didn't like it. The results weren't what you wanted, and Brett Bielema wasted no time in getting rid of him and bringing in Barry Lunny Jr. Thus far, you've seen the standard, and I like what I'm seeing. So I just have the feeling that if Ryan Walters then does move on to a head coaching job, which he definitely deserves, I have a lot of strong faith that Brett Bielema will know who to go find to run his defense next year, unless that guy's maybe even on your squad right now.
Yeah, that's a great point. He has hired the staff really well, and that was a weakness of Lovie Smith and something that wasn't really – if you're a Chicago Bears fan and you saw the coordinators, especially offensive coordinators that Lovie went through, Mike Tice, Mike Martz, just to name a couple, it wasn't pretty. That was not a strong suit of Lovie Smith, and always did seem to hire his buddies maybe more so than the best guys from the job. And to Brett Bielema's credit, it seems like he's got a very quality staff, both in terms of coaching them up, but also developing talent. And, yeah, maybe the replacement for Ryan Walters is already on this staff, but also Brett Bielema having just the cachet, knowing that he's a big name in college football, and then the experience of being at Wisconsin, Arkansas. He's been in the NFL. Now, he's got a lot of connections. I imagine that he is tapped into some very qualified pieces there that you could bring in to be on this coaching staff. So, you're thoroughly confident in this staff being able to get the most out of their talent, and really that is the footprint of who you're trying to be in Wisconsin and Iowa. I remember I was listening to a clip back at Big Ten Media Days. They asked Jack Campbell, the All-American linebacker at Iowa, like, how does Iowa keep churning these guys out? And he said it. He's like, we don't really come in as these 4 or 5-star All-American types. They make us that there, and Illinois is hopefully doing the same thing here. And there have been some cases here where you've been able to see this coaching staff and this coaching being able to elevate the players that they're working with.
We'll, of course, visit with Jay Lehman Monday on the Jay Lehman Hour. That'll be fun to get his thoughts on the Chattanooga game, but also look ahead to Wisconsin and how fun that's going to be. Illinois, of course, will have some extra time now to get ready and prepare for Wisconsin. We will also watch the Badgers Saturday night as they tackle Ohio State. Now, I'm not expecting Wisconsin to win that game, obviously. How much, though, can we take out of that game? I mean, if Ohio State wins that game by 35, are you going to sit there and really honestly in your mind say, yep, Wisconsin's horrible, or are you more or less going to say, you know what, Ohio State's just that good and we know kind of where we are in the pecking order?
It's hard to compare what Illinois has versus Ohio State, especially offensively. Yeah, I mean, college football is that way in general. I guess you could say if Travion Henderson, the running back at Ohio State, if he has a huge day on the Wisconsin defense, then maybe that would be an indication that you'd be in a good spot for Chase Brown to be able to go up to Madison next weekend to be able to do some things. But, of course, trying to compare, like, say, Jackson Smith and Jigba, who's a projected top 10 pick in next year's draft at wide receiver for Ohio State. I mean, they just keep their wide receiver in terms of being a factory for top-notch wide receivers, and Marvin Harrison Jr.'s there as well. Like, if those guys kill Wisconsin or do some big things, it's hard to make the comparison of, then Pat Bryant's going to go for 100 yet again. I think that if Wisconsin is thoroughly outclassed, does that give you the exact indication that Illinois is going to go in there and win, or that Illinois is going to be able to do what we expect? Because, look, I mean, we don't know how Illinois stacks up to Ohio State. They're one of the best teams in the country. And like you said, it's a very top-heavy game that we play in college football. But, yeah, I think that you would hope that if you're looking at it, Graham Mertz struggles, and you're going to say, do they really have a better quarterback than us? Mm-hmm. Is their defense that much better than Illinois', or is it better? If you start having some of those question marks, then maybe that's going to give you the confidence that Illinois can hang and maybe even pull it off in Madison.
And, of course, they lost at home to Washington State.
That's probably that's the indication you've already seen.
Correct.
More so than anything that's going to play out in Columbus on Saturday.
Can we get Jim Leonhard hired somewhere?
Sure.
I mean, are we going to be that fortunate with Ryan Walters just staying here? Brett Bielema mentioned that his first recruit that he ever went and talked to as a Wisconsin coach was Jim Leonhard. And he said that Barry Alvarez told Bielema, he's like, if you can get him, you can get anybody you want. And, of course, that's the gift that keeps on giving right now with Jim Leonhard and what he has done with that Wisconsin program. You alluded to it in the first hour. I'm happy to have Brett Bielema. But you and I, number one on our list to replace Lovey was Jim Leonhard, and why wouldn't it be? He's number one on a lot of lists. But for some reason, he's just hanging around there because I think he feels like he will be, I guess, one day the head coach at Wisconsin, but I don't see Paul Chryst going anywhere. So it's time for Jim Leonhard to
move along, Jimmy.
Move along. That's exactly right. But it should be fun to watch that game Saturday and just kind of get an idea on that. All right, we're going to talk some Illinois basketball. We're going to do that next segment. You went today to the Hall of Fame press conference, and of course we had Jeff George on earlier this week, and that turned out to be one of the better interviews, more fun interviews that I've done in my 12 years here at SJ Broadcasting. Jeff George was very good about kind of breaking plays down and just his career at Illinois, and he even touched on, the program itself and how it's fallen on hard times, and hopefully Brett Bielema can bring it back. But you were there today, and, of course, a couple of football guys, Jeff George, Bill Burrell, who's no longer with us, obviously, but he's being inducted. They're having their thing tonight at 6 p.m. at the State Farm Center. It's free. Anybody can go to it if you want to go over and check that out. But what did you learn today? How cool was that? Was everybody, that could be there?
They had all 10 living members of this class going in. A couple of other ones, Dion was there as well, that have already been inducted. But,
Sweet.
It was fun talking to Jeff George again. And also Ken the Snake Norman, my first time doing an interview with the Snake. And you'd have to tell me, I'll have to listen to the play. When Trevor Valise will have to cue up the, I don't know exactly, the story time music at some point and have you tell me how good the Snake was. But I was looking up his stats.
He scored every point and got every rebound.
Jeez.
It just seemed like
him and Kofi, I don't know if you've had anybody else in the program history to average 21 and 10.
It's amazing.
Night in and night out. And for him to be able to be that dominant and have a very, very good NBA career as well. And it was cool listening to him talk about, even in the NBA, and I was thinking Illinois trying to get to the point where there's more of an imprint from the Illinois program in the NBA and what that would mean, even recruiting, future talent. And he's like, I'm sitting in there in games with Eddie Johnson and Derek Harper and Kendall Gill, and we're talking about Lou Henson and just these little things that Lou Henson would say. And, if you did that, we'd be pulling that up in the film session. He said, that was just kind of a cool thing. And that's really what is the best about these type of events, is just hearing the stories that these guys tell and how much of an honor it is for an athletic program that's had so many great athletes throughout its time to just know that people appreciate who they're in the company of and just to appreciate who else is in that class, and they share stories, and it's just a really cool thing that they've put together, and it's fun to go there and be a part of it.
Ken Norman, not a big media guy.
He's not, no.
But he did all right today? They're probably like, this is all you got to do.
He seemed to be really good today. He did say he likes to stay low-key. He said that he hasn't been back in Champaign since they put his jersey up there when they did the all-century team, and lives out there in Las Vegas currently. But now he does say that he's got a couple grandsons up in Chicago that start pulling him back. They start to play some sports. And he does say that he's got a grandson that is up at Fenwick right now in Chicago. Ooh. Pretty good basketball player. He said that we should put him on the radar. So maybe – get one of the. I know that Kendall Gill's got a son coming up that's already earned an Illinois offer. Maybe you get
what do they call those?
The legacy.
The legacy.
Yeah,
I'm ready for all those.
Get some legacy players in addition to the recruiting that Brad Underwood's been able to do.
That's exactly right. I'm ready for as many legacy guys that want to come into this program. Well, that's the perfect transition. Let's talk some Illinois basketball when we come back. I know a couple visitors, one especially important that are on campus this week for this Illinois basketball program, and of course next week they start their first official practice. It's already here. This is crazy. October right around the corner here, and basketball will be right around the corner as well with games in November. It just is hard to believe. But, again, when you've got your football team winning, it makes you kind of hold off a little bit on the back end of basketball. Too many years where we've all been, all right, let's just get to basketball. This year I think we're holding off a little bit, and hopefully that'll be the case. But we'll touch on it when we come back. Again, we are live at Pia's. Plenty of specials today. $4 Captain Morgan's. There's Miller Lite, Coors Light bottles, 16-ounce bottles for $3. Also for $3, Dos Equis and Twisted Tea. And they have a quarter-pound hot dog for $3. That's all here at Pia's from 4 to 6. We'll be here until 6. Come out and join us. The rain is done, I believe. Yes, it looks like it's done, so come out.
Is that confirmed?
I don't know. Is it confirmed? No, it's not. All right, Chuck says no. It's still barely. It's barely raining. Exactly, and there's umbrellas. Tolerable is the perfect thing. All right, come out and join us. We're here till 6. It is The Drive.
Hi, my name is Kelly Doherty with OSF Healthcare, and I am a certified nurse midwife in the obstetrics and gynecology department. It's such a thrill being a part of a great team bringing life into the world. We have so many different options for expecting mothers to choose when it comes to our services. For example, the open birthing rooms that can facilitate guests and having a special playlist of music to help soothe mom during delivery. These help tap into what I do as a midwife and really bond during the birthing process to focus on mom and baby and getting them close to each other as soon as possible. We also offer water therapy and other alternative labor management options. Resting, recuperating, and getting a good meal are all on our radar to make a family comfortable in this new chapter, and you'll find it all at OSF Heart of Mary Medical Center. If expecting parents want to explore their options, just visit our website to meet with me or any of our staff and get a tour of our fabulous state-of-the-art facility. including our labor and delivery suites and our special care nursery. Visit our website for all the details at osfhealthcare.org.
If you need insurance, you gotta go to Insurance Providers Group. They can help you like they've helped me. Hi, it's Jay Lehman. Insurance Providers Group can get you a quote on all aspects of personal, business, agricultural, life, and health insurance and employee benefits. They represent many insurance companies that allow them to provide you with the most competitive rates and the best coverage. Call Kyle Lewis at 217-352-7080 or email Kyle at ipgins.com or go to the website for a quote at ipgnis.com.
It's the most enchanting time of year. Pumpkins, gourds, and mums appear, and you can get it all this fall at Prairie Gardens. Create your dream garden with an explosion of color with the prettiest mums around. All on sale, and you'll love the fresh cabbage, kale, and pansies. Plus a bounty of pumpkins and gourds aplenty. With PG Plant experts always on hand to answer your garden questions. At Prairie Gardens, locally owned. Plant experts, extraordinary gardening, home decor, and more.
PDR Automotive in Urbana has been providing quality auto repair service for almost 50 years. Trusted by AAA Motor Club, PDR employs ASE certified technicians that use the latest in diagnostic equipment. They offer nationwide warranties and are even authorized to perform vehicle maintenance that won't void your factory warranty. Check them out 24/7 online at pdrauto.com. When you turn the key and the car won't run, call 367-9481. They are what's best for your truck or car. They are PDR.
Bird lovers, a Sunday morning tradition is back. Meet at Anita Purvis Nature Center Sunday morning at 7:30 a.m. Experts will lead hikes through Busey Woods looking for birds. The bird walk wraps up at 9 a.m. Learn how to spot birds and how to identify birds. Call Anita Purvis Nature Center at 217-384-4062 if you have any questions. Learn more at urbanaparks.org. Urbana Park District. You belong here.
You'll find all the best color and skin pairings this fall at Merle Norman. Shop now and receive a free eye compliments trio with travel-sized anti-aging complex eye cream, fat lash mascara, and dual-action eye makeup remover. Gift with purchase available now at Merle Norman Cosmetics and Boutique at 706 West Market View Drive in Champaign. Your gift is free with the purchase of 2 or more Merle Norman cosmetic products. Cosmetic accessories not included. Offer valid while supplies last at participating Merle Norman Cosmetic Studios. Limit 1 per customer. We reserve the right to substitute individual component.
When you're buying a battery, it's important to look beyond just the price and make sure you're buying a quality battery. So when you're buying one from the big box store, make sure you ask the question, what's the date on this battery? Is it dependable? Sometimes the big box stores have batteries that have been sitting on the shelf for years. Or you can just come to Interstate Batteries, outrageously dependable, and buy your battery from the people who only do batteries. Interstate Batteries at 2504 North Madison, Champaign. Way out there, but totally worth the drive. How much is dependable worth to you? Interstate Batteries open 6 days a week.
Hey, Illini fans, it's Georgia B and Stevie J Broadcasting, and you are listening to the amazing ESPN Radio 93.5.
Talk basketball and Piper's not even up here. I mean, what? Nobody cares about what I say about basketball and Illinois basketball. Hey, it is The Drive with Tay and Piper. I'm Lon Tay, Derek Piper. College game day live at Pia's. Not exactly ideal in terms of weather. And I was shown the radar. It doesn't look promising coming up. So, but we have an inside, and we have tents and umbrellas out here, so we're good to go. So yesterday at the tailgate, I didn't get to tailgate very long, but I was there for a couple hours. You can still do damage in a couple of hours. I see Coach Alexander walking around with R.J. Melendez. He's kind of going up, visiting. And Coach has, like, these fancy sunglasses. And I'm like, what is that? He's cool, man.
He is cool.
He's got to have the cool factor to hang out with these kids.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you go out recruiting, and, yeah, I mean, Alexander's got some swagger to him.
He totally
You might
does.
not know that about him, but he's got a little swagger about him, for sure. He's a fun guy.
He is a fun guy, and that's the great thing with him is I just think I don't know that there's a happier coach in college basketball than Jeff Alexander. I mean, I truly believe a kid from Lincoln, Illinois, I truly believe he's at his perfect spot. Now, would he love to be the head coach of Illinois one day? I'm sure he would. But I think he's at the perfect spot. He loves it here. He loves coaching for the University of Illinois. And the dude takes trips to Spain like every other week. Is there anybody in America that has a better job right now than Jeff Alexander?
It's hard to find a better one. I know that for him to lock down the international recruiter to be able to go over and go to Spain, go to France, and say, don't worry, I'll go recruit this point guard from Italy. You guys just stay back here,
good.
and I'll take care of it. You see me in a week and a half. I think that he's certainly excited about that. I know he's probably more excited than when he was an assistant at Eastern Illinois coaching my brother over there who's in attendance, to say that Jeff Alexander threw the hardest entry passes as the big man coach that anyone has ever seen. So I think he's toned it down a little bit. He's more of in his comfort zone, and he's certainly enjoying who he's getting to work with here at Illinois.
There's no doubt. Well, this weekend is a big weekend. Yesterday he was with R.J. Melendez. We know he's signed, sealed, delivered, and can't wait for his sophomore season to see what he can do and the leap he's going to take. But there's a couple of other younger kids that aren't on Illinois yet. We're hoping will be possibly. What do you got for this weekend in terms of guests here for the staff?
We've talked all week about Dre Gibbs-Lawhorn, the former Purdue commit who opened things up in early August, and he's a Lafayette native, so that was a hometown get for Purdue originally, but he's opened things back up. He's down at Mount Verde in Florida, and since reopening his recruitment and taking a look around, this is his first visit since opening it back up. So coming to Illinois for his first visit, Tim Anderson's done a good job of getting in there, building a relationship. I know that Illinois has been very aggressive. While they do have a number of guards, which look back to this previous class of getting Jaden Epps, Sky Clark, Sincere Harris, they just, with a up-tempo system that has multiple ball handlers, they want to get another one. They want to get another loaded backcourt, which has been kind of a staple of Brad Underwood here in the success that they've had. They've been able to have better guard play than a lot of the teams, if not all of them. When you look around the last 3 years, Illinois winning more than –
I'm sorry. I have a knot in my umbrella or my thing, and I can't get it out. Now.
Who in the Big Ten? It is a little bit. I'm trying to hold it together and be a professional. Who in the Big Ten has had a deeper backcourt, more talented backcourt than Illinois here in the last 3 years? Has there been anybody?
No.
It seems like most teams you stack it up and say, well, Illinois with their guards should be able to get the best of this matchup and be able to win. I know that Kofi was a huge part of Illinois' success as well, but having when you have a trio of like Trent Frazier, Io, and Felice when he was here, when Felice leaves, then Curbelo and Adam Miller come in, and now you've got Plummer as well. So trying to throw Gibbs-Lawhorn in that mix, and he's a very good shooter. He's a good athlete, and they think that he's someone that can play with the ball in his hands when maybe Sky Clark is off the floor going forward for that future. So I think they've done a really, really good job. Illinois and Memphis, as we've discussed earlier in the week, have been the major players in this recruitment so far. We'll see if anybody dials it up, but it kind of is leaning towards and seems the indications are that Illinois is probably the team to beat at this point, and he's in town this weekend, and they're definitely making a good impression.
It's the low-hanging fruit, but I got to go with it. We're getting out of golf season, so possibly not an idea that Memphis is going to lock him in on a golf trip with Penny or one of those. But how different is he than what Illinois has now with Epps, with Clark? Who's the other guard?
Sincere Harris.
Sincere Harris. Is he more like one of those, or is he different in a certain way? I know you haven't seen a ton of him. But.
Yeah, he's decently like Jaden Epps.
Okay.
As a guy that I thought could play a Carson Edwards type of role, just knowing that he's wired to score and would be a bucket getter. Kenny didn't develop into a facilitator. One difference is they think that Gibbs-Lawhorn is a little bit more advanced as a passer. He sees the floor a little bit better when the ball is in his hands. And you got to be able to have, in addition to a Sky Clark, who's a pure point guard, have another guy in that mix that can run the point and facilitate offense and make people better around him. So they think that Gibbs-Lawhorn is able to do that. I'm not saying that Jaden Epps during his career, because I'm pretty bullish on who Jaden Epps is going to be. And I do think that he can be a point guard as his career goes forward. But one thing that has been noticed since he's been on campus is maybe that is going to take a little bit more time than maybe being initially anticipated. So trying to find someone else that can play with the ball in his hands is something that's been a priority, and they see Gibbs-Lawhorn being able to do that.
Now, with your brother in attendance here at Pia's and also Terry Smothers, I want to describe to you guys what a pass is. A pass is when you get the ball and then you throw it to somebody else instead of just shooting it. I just had to throw that out there. Smo over here shooting about 38 a game. I love it, though. I had to do that. I just had to do that for you guys. You were still the better athlete, right, in the Piper house?
No, that's not true. That's
but
not
you were
true.
the quarterback and everything.
Yeah. Ask my parents who had to they didn't have to pay for college, and then the other person they had to chip in a little bit. I still got student loans and whatnot.
I get you.
Yeah, full ride scholarship for him, so I'm not going to even argue that one.
Hey, so basketball practice begins next week, right?
It does. So they go from 8 hours a week on the court to 20. This is going to be the first official in-season practice beginning on Monday, and it's going to be full bore going forward towards the start of the regular season. Awesome. When you're within that 40-day window of your opener, then you're going to have a regular in-season-like schedule, and that's when this team can really ramp things up and find out. Look, with so many new pieces, new system at both ends of the floor, I think Brad continues to tinker with how's he going to run plays to get Ty Rodgers matched up against a smaller guy who can bully to the basket, or they like the idea of maybe putting Matthew Meyer in the post, or trying to get Terrence Shannon on a straight line drive, because we know if he's going above the rim, it's hard for him to be stopped by anybody. So there's just so many, with the versatility that this team's going to have, the depth they're going to have. There's so many different things that Brad can do to try to put guys in spots to be successful, and that's exciting. We've talked about it time and again. When you had Kofi down low, he was so dominant. And also Ayo. I mean, go back to Ayo. You're not going to say, well, I'm glad that we've moved on from that era of Illinois basketball.
Not at all.
Just as a roster as a whole, you just have some more things you can tinker with, and it certainly works that way defensively too, where you put more pressure on people.
Yes, it could change this season when I start watching more Terrence Shannon, Matthew Meyer, these freshmen that are coming in. And this isn't a knock on those guys. Like you just said, I mean, the last 3 seasons have been wonderful for Illinois basketball. A lot of wins, a Big Ten title, a couple of NCAA appearances, would have been 3 except for COVID. But when you look at those last 3 years' teams, I could sit down with someone that isn't familiar with Illinois and say, well, this guy is Trent Frazier. Here's exactly what he does. He's really good defensively, and he can go on a heater in a heartbeat and knock down 4 threes. I mean, you could do that almost with every guy. Ayo would not be that. Ayo could do everything, right? And, again, not a knock on Trent or any of these players. Plummer, well, he's a dead-eye shooter, three-pointer. When he gets on a roll, look out. Off the bench, he can do it unbelievable. I have a feeling with this team this season that I don't know that I'm going to be able to sit down and say, well, this is exactly what Terrence Shannon Jr. does, because he's going to do so many things in the idea that he's going to be able to bring it defensively. He might bring the ball up one time. I mean, you said that Ty Rodgers might be seeing a lot of action at point guard, which is kind of weird to me to think like that, but it's just literally that's how college basketball is now. So I think that'll be – does that make sense what I'm saying? Yeah. It's almost like I can't pigeonhole exactly what this guy does, because he does everything, and everything well, I hope.
Absolutely. I know that last year, even for as many games as that team won, it's like Alfonso Plummer is really just a threat as a catch-and-shoot three-point shooter for the most part. Jacob Grandison was in that mix as well. You just had guys that couldn't do, okay, if this guy's a shooter, can he do anything off the dribble? If this guy can go off the dribble like Andre Curbelo, can he shoot? There was just ways to poke holes in guys' games, and I think that this roster is just more well-rounded and more athletic. That was another thing. You look back to that Houston game and the athletic difference that Houston had versus Illinois when you bring in a guy like Shannon, and Sky Clark, when healthy, is a very good athlete as well. Matthew Meyer's a good athlete. There's just more athleticism to where you can play faster, where you can match up with some of these bigger, more explosive wings and guards. Malachi Branham really hurt Illinois at Ohio State. Jaden Ivey at Purdue. There's a different caliber of athlete and different size that Illinois couldn't match up well with last year. They'll have a better ability to be able to do that going forward. So that is something that's very exciting. And I think one thing throughout the fall, and I'll ask you this, is having freshmen, your point guards right now, your point guard options right now, freshman Sky Clark, freshman Ty Rodgers, freshman Jaden Epps. Those are your 3 top projected point guard options. How much does that make you nervous? How quickly do those guys get in sync and limit the mistakes that freshmen typically make, and be able to be ready for a team that's going to get challenged early on with the schedule?
It does, because it's a challenging schedule, but you don't have to go very far back with the Michigan team. that everybody thought, oh, this is a top 3, top 5 team in the country with all those freshmen coming in, and they really didn't find their footing, if you will, until halfway through the Big Ten season, and then, of course, went pretty far in the NCAA tournament. That's kind of, I think, how I'm looking at this Illinois squad with guys like Epps and Clark and these freshmen. I understand a freshman today is different than a freshman 20 years ago because they've played all these AAU games. They've played elite competition their whole time, but I still think it's a transition, right, to the Big Ten. And the Big Ten, you know, I know we knock it because they don't win national titles. In fact, they haven't had one since 2000 with Michigan State. But one thing that this league will do is they will absolutely expose your weaknesses immediately. And if you're playing Purdue, they know exactly what Jaden Epps can't do. And so things like that is what you will really see the warts, I think, on these freshmen early. But I think as the season progresses, similar to how Houston did and Mbakwe, he was Minnesota years ago, right? Who was the kid for Michigan, the tall guy underneath? I can't think of his name. Diabate. I mean, as they kind of got halfway through that freshman season into Big Ten play, into NCAA tournament play, that's when they really started stepping it up. I can see that happening with these Illinois freshmen this season.
Yeah, I agree with you. They're too talented not to be able to figure it out at some point. It's just whether you can weather that storm and have them be able to bounce back from. It could be tough if you're going to face UCLA early and it's a tough night for Sky Clark and he has 5-6 turnovers or doesn't shoot well from the field. Same thing, you know, Ty Rodgers, Jaden Epps, and that could be something that you're going to have to manage some guys' confidences and being able to push them along. The great thing is having someone like Chester Frazier
big time
on the staff to be able to help them and has been in that spot where, you know, post D Brown, oh, here, Chester, here's the keys, come be our point guard. He understands what that's like. So it's just there's a lot to be excited about with this team, but at the same time there's a lot to work through when you're going to play different. You're going to have newcomers, you're going to have new roles, and you're going to have freshman point guards because we did see last year Chucky Hepburn being a true freshman point guard starting for Wisconsin, a team that won a share of the Big Ten title.
Banking in threes from 90.
Banking in threes in clutch games. That can happen, but then usually when you first print out that March Madness bracket, sometimes you seem to lean on the teams that got the veteran guards, that have the point guards that have been there and have been established. You wonder if that could be a shortcoming for Illinois, whether it be hopefully it's not in the tournament. Hopefully it isn't when, you know, games are on the line. You're playing at Mackey maybe for a Big Ten title at the last game of the regular season. But that is one thing that they're going to have to overcome is just the inexperience for those ball handling guards.
And that I'm still seeing, by the way, the Houston guard hit an elbow jumper. I'm still seeing that in my nightmares. How many did he hit of that? This non-conference schedule, I know that these guys, there's a rhyme and a reason for when teams set up and how they set up their non-conference. If they feel like they're the kind of team that can get tested, you will see a difficult non-conference and a tougher non-conference as opposed to maybe bringing in some new guys and saying, you know what, let's don't push them all the way. Let's get some victories. This year it's like a mix. It's a weird mix. You've got a lot of new kids, but you also have a non-conference slate, and I understand that a lot of that is you're not going to turn down a trip to Vegas, right, with that field. Your ACC Big Ten game, you never know how that's going to work, but that's a good indicator of how good they think you're going to be is who you're matching up against the ACC and vice versa. But with this team, you've got these young kids, yet you've got a power non-conference schedule. So by Big Ten play, like it or not, they're going to be ready because they're going to go through a gauntlet soon. And that starts soon.
No, it definitely does. And I know that, I mean, you look around veteran coaches, you see the way that Tom Izzo usually schedules his non-conference. I know that Gonzaga has to because they don't play anybody in conference, but they still go out and challenge themselves. And that's been a characteristic of a team that wants to find out what they have early on and learn from some bumps in the road versus having a cupcake schedule and then go into the Big Ten and be like, oh, wait, we weren't prepared for this. We weren't prepared for this kind of adversity. And, yeah, when ESPN is putting together their Jimmy V Classic field, they haven't been calling Illinois for the last couple of years or last 10 years, and finally you pick up that call like, oh, you want us? Yeah, you should, because Illinois has put themselves into a position to be nationally relevant again, and that's a great stage to try to take advantage. Of course, you're going to have to go and beat a good Texas team or go to Vegas and play, you know, 3 of the top 15 teams in the country and be a part of a really talented field. But Illinois has earned that right to be in those type of moments, and now it's whether some of these young guys can can be ready for that moment as well. But that's why you went out in the transfer portal and you got a Terrence Shannon Jr., why you got a Matthew Meyer, guys that have won a lot of games and are veterans that hopefully can take over leadership roles and be marquee players.
Rob Stone, who basically operates and runs our station, just said, if we're doing 3 breaks, you better get moving. So we got to catch a break here. Rob, I promise we're catching this break. When we come back, let's look ahead a little bit to this weekend. Some NFL. Are you still fired up about the Bears? I mean, they are 1-1, and you do have Houston coming in. So, I mean, it's the Lovie Smith homecoming in Chicago. I'll ask you about that. Rob, let's catch a break live at Pia's. It is The Drive.
Hi, Ellen Hook here, owner of your local Ashley store. We're here to help you get the best sleep of your life. Our trained sleep professionals are ready to pair you with the perfect sleep system. Plus, with all the top brands in stock and ready for fast delivery, you don't have to wait to sleep better. For a limited time only, get 0% interest for 60 months on select Tempur-Pedic, Beautyrest Black, and Purple mattresses. Visit our local Ashley store for better sleep and savings. Only at America's #1 furniture and mattress store, Ashley.
This is Gina from ABC Heating and Air Conditioning. If you're looking for a top-of-the-line air conditioner, think Amana. We carry all sizes and offer expert installation. ABC Heating and Air Conditioning is locally owned, and we've been in business for 50 years. And for 50 years, the only brand we've sold is Amana. So go with a company that is local, dependable, and will be there for you no matter what time of day or night. ABC. Always be comfortable. Let us install your new Amana air conditioner. Visit www.abcheatingandac.com.
I've got to clean out this garage. Let's see. What's the cheapest and easiest dumpster service in our area?
Here's what I found. The doggy bag.
Think she's broken. I'm not looking for takeout. Siri, try again.
The doggy bag from Bulldog Disposal in Mahomet.
Doggy bag? What's that?
If you got junk that needs to go, but you don't want the hassle of having an enormous dumpster delivered, grab a doggy bag, keep it as long as you need. They'll come take it away. For more information, just visit bulldoggybag.com.
That's bulldoggybag.com.
Illinois football is back. Shop at Game Day Spirit this fall and gear up to support your Fighting Illini football team. With great football designs and brand new apparel from top brands, they're the one-stop shop to get everything you need this football season. Shop with them at the corner of Neal and Kirby in Champaign, 6th and Green in Campustown, and online 24/7 at GameDaySpirit.com. Game Day Spirit, where Illini fans shop.
If you're a truck driver or know a truck driver, listen to this. Gale Frericks Trucking is looking for regional drivers who can also help with the harvest. Help with the harvest, drive in the Midwest, and always be home on weekends. Gale Frericks Trucking is hiring a regional driver who can help with the harvest and offers great pay and great benefits. Work for a local company who values your time and your family. Gale Frericks Trucking wants to talk to you. Just email Dixie at gftlog.com. That's Dixie at gftlog.com.
PDR Automotive in Urbana has been providing quality auto repair service for almost 50 years. Trusted by AAA Motor Club, PDR employs ASE certified technicians that use the latest in diagnostic equipment. They offer nationwide warranties and are even authorized to perform vehicle maintenance that won't void your factory warranty. Check them out 24/7 online at pdrauto.com. When you turn the key and the car won't run, call 367-9481. They are what's best for your truck or car. They are PDR.
Wouldn't it be nice to visit a car dealership where you didn't feel like you were at an auction? Or didn't feel like you were being taken to the cleaners?
I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse.
Welcome to Sarah Champagne. At Sarah, they offer a one-price promise. Every vehicle at a fair price, no negotiation, only the best price. Sarah Champagne, Honda, BMW, GMC, Buick, and Subaru. SERRA Champagne.com.
Hey, Illini fans, it's Georgia B. Catch my boys Lante and Derek Piper weekdays from 4 to 6 on The Drive. Boom, boom, brr.
All right, Derek Piper, we're telling old war stories here. Back
You
in
are.
the day. Yeah, I am. I am. I'm the one doing it. All right, live at Pia's, a lot of great specials. Thanks to everybody that showed up. I mean, these are like the diehards. Thank you. We owe applause to them today. Rob, thank you for doing all of your work back in the day, or back in the studio. And Mike came along and helped us set up because Derek and I really, truly did not trust each other. setting up.
We practiced earlier in the week, and, we just knew something would go wrong.
Yeah,
but to this point, it's been pretty good.
I don't fill the role as talent until it comes to this kind of stuff where I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, guys, so I'm just going to sit back and let you figure it out. But I'll take it back. I'll take it back to the studio tonight, so I'll do my part.
Sounds good.
I'll do my part on that. All right, Bears-Texans. Are you 2-1 after
Are you thrilled?
Is that a noon game? When do I get to take my nap? That's terrible.
It is a noon game.
Okay. Noon game is when I'll take my nap. You're going to be 2-1, right? You'll beat Lovey.
I wouldn't be so confident there, Lon. It's the Bears, considered one of the worst teams in football. Texans have been kind of feisty. Barely lost to the Broncos last week in Denver, and then tied with the Colts. Now, the Colts have issues, as we've discussed here. We've got to figure out. We've got to call up our guy, Chris Whitlock, and get the real scoop on that. But
we're going to.
I get the feeling that the Bears will take care of business. I know they're a short favorite right now, about 2.5-point favorite. It's a reactionary league, right? Where in week 1, everyone says for the Packers, Aaron Jones, why did he have 8 touches? Then you go into week 2 and he has a monster game. Allen Robinson is even on the Rams, and then he has the first touchdown for the Rams the next week. I think we're all going to say, why is Justin Fields not throwing the ball? And then look and see a Texans defense that was projected to have one of the worst secondaries in the league going into this season, and Justin Fields is going to have – I'm not going to say he's throwing for 350 or anything, but I think he has a better day. I think they get a little bit more aggressive with their passing. And Darnell Mooney, who's done nothing, he might even have negative receiving yards on the season. I'm pretty bullish on him to be able to finally break through and have a good game. And David Montgomery's looked fantastic. It's just whether the Bears cannot shoot themselves in the foot and lose a game that they probably shouldn't, which – I'm already saying, they won one they shouldn't have won against the Niners, and if they would turn around, just don't lose to Lovie
No,
Smith.
You can't do that, right?
Don't do that.
This is a kind of a weird question to ask you because I think you understand where I'm going. How many games do you want the Bears to win?
Good question.
You know what I'm saying?
I know.
You don't want to be in that. We're drafting 13 to 22 because you really, you can still get an impact guy. Don't get me wrong. You almost just we're not very good, so let's just not
kind of lean into it a little bit.
Let's just suck while we can and get a top draft. I think that's the way I would want to look at it.
The problem is we've stunk for so long; it's hard to really get behind. Yeah, let's stink again. Let's do that. I kind of want to be intrigued for as long as possible. I'm not sitting here feeling any type of chance that the Bears are going to, even if Green Bay, which goes down to Tampa this weekend, and if they lose and say whatever happens in the Lions-Vikings game, one team is going to be 2-1 out of that group, and the Bears could be as well if they were able to beat the Texans. But still, I'm not sitting there trying to say, hey, still maybe a chance the Bears win the division and this is our year type of stuff. I just want to see – I think it'd be good for Justin Fields to be able to win some games.
Okay.
I think it'd be good in his progression as a quarterback to be able to lead the Bears to some victories, to have some confidence, to be able to – feel like he is making the type of strides that you want when you invest that type of capital into a quarterback that high in the draft. I'm starting to get jealous. I don't want to panic too soon, but look how well Jalen Hurts is playing in year 3. Look how well Justin Herbert is already viewed as one of the best quarterbacks in football. Joe Burrow. Justin Fields is still in the very forefront of his year 2, but with the fact that there's not a lot around him and just not a lot of positive momentum right now, I'm starting to wonder and worry, at what point do we start to panic and say, is Justin Fields the guy? Are the Bears going to mess this up? I want to see some positive push forward for him, and I think winning some games would be part of that. But there's no doubt a good draft pick certainly would be good as well.
Yeah. My Cardinals and the Rams, that should be a fun game, 325.
I already picked your Cardinals earlier in the week. You already know that.
You did. So just need to take advantage of Stafford's mistakes. I want to talk baseball, but Rob, can you do me a favor and hit any one of those music buttons on the board? Any one of them. Rob's sitting there. He's like cursing me right now, saying, "What are you?"
He's like, actually, we've got to hit a commercial.
There he is. And I know what he was doing. He was queuing up the 80s. That's what I love.
Nice.
I want to tell you that you can bet the Chicago Bears game on BetUS. Go to BetUS.com. Call them at 1-800-79-BETUS or go to BetUS.com. Log in, but make sure you use promo code 935. And then I think it's 125%
sign-up bonus.
Sign-up bonus.
Yep.
So you put 100 with them, they're going to give you 100 of free bets. So take it out, check it out, use promo code 935, betus.com, or call them 800-79-BET-US. You know I'll have a parlay going this weekend because I actually hit one last weekend. Rob, that's perfect. Thank you, buddy. Much appreciated as always. All right, baseball. You have a chance this weekend to see history, obviously, starting tonight. Is it as fitting as ever that Aaron Judge could set the record against the Red Sox? I think this is –
yeah.
I think that's pretty cool. I think that's pretty cool.
No, it's really, really cool, and that's certainly an appealing rivalry that tunes the casual baseball fan in. I know we get a little overkill of Yankees-Red Sox. It's kind of – at least that rivalry usually delivers versus we get some NFC East matchup on Monday Night Football, and But, Aaron Judge for sure is must-see TV right now. And to do it against the Red Sox would be very fitting and very exciting. It's actually funny because there are some Red Sox fans, I know they're probably just trolling, but saying, hey, with the Yankees not locking up Judge long-term, we could be players for him in the free agent market coming up this offseason.
You mean like Contreras?
Yeah.
In St. Louis?
Stir that up.
Well, it is must-see TV if you have a streaming device.
Oh, boy.
Then you can watch tonight's Yankees-Red Sox game. In fact, if you have a streaming device, you can also watch the Dodgers and Cardinals because you're not going to see them on Bally Sports Midwest. So I'm hoping Albert Pujols does not hit 2 home runs tonight. I guess if he hits 1, cue up to 700 coming up, right?
Right. I'm starting to get a little nervous.
I was going to say,
just
how many games are left?
12.
Okay.
I think.
He almost needs to get one this weekend.
I think when you look at the Dodgers and Brewers road trip.
Yes.
So 3 against the Dodgers, and it's only 2 against
that was
Milwaukee, right?
Wrong. Yep.
So the next 5 games, if he can get 1 and then hit 1 against the Pirates in the final 6, that's very, very doable. Look, 2 home. If he doesn't hit any in the next 5 games and you go the final stretch, can you hit 2 against the Pirates in 6 games? That's very doable as well. I'll just start to get a little nervous in case he's going to get cold at the wrong time.
He hit 2 to the track yesterday.
He did. He one-hopped the wall against.
3. Because one of them was a hit. The other 2, one was caught in right, one was caught in left.
Yep.
I'm with you. The Dodgers throwing 2 lefties in a row. Can't remember the kid tonight. Kershaw tomorrow night. So Pujols will be in the lineup the next 2 nights. Did you, as we round it out here, did you see the video of the Memphis Redbirds player, Perez, that thought he had hit a home run?
I did not.
He smoked it, but I guess the wind was blowing in from left. So he hits one to left. He starts doing that slow walk, flips the bat, and starts running around the bases. And he's at like second base, and the guy in left has already caught the ball. So the ball's coming back into the infield when he's going around third base thinking he hit a home run. You got to come back. You got to go watch this thing.
Oh, my God.
And then everybody's yelling at him like, dude, what are you doing? So it was Perez was his name. It was Delvin, I think, Perez. He thought he hit a home run, and he pimped it, man. He was running around, like, showcasing his skill, and the left fielder caught it in front of the warning track.
That's tough.
So,
by the way, yes.
Would that be the no soup for you file to put a Seinfeld angle on your show?
That's exactly right, Rob.
And I'm sorry.
Well said.
I'm sorry to interrupt, and I don't chime in very often, but don't forget you can hear the Cardinals game tonight.
Yes. Well, that's perfect because if you can't have stream, guess what you're going to be doing? You're going to listen to 93.5.
That's right. I'll take shameless plugs for 500, Alex.
Boom, Rob. Well done, my friend. Thanks for everything you do back there. But you'll hear the pregame, Cardinals game, and the postgame, and, of course, the Cubbies on 105.9 as well. Rob, hit that outro button, my friend. Thank you for all you've done today and making it head over the air. And, again, thanks to Pia's great specials as always. Thanks to everybody that came out, braved the weather. It sounds like there's more weather coming. So if you're heading to a high school football game, take that poncho. I believe you're going to need it tonight. How fun was it to play in rain? Is it fun
especially
as a player?
when you're no?
Oh,
well, see, if you're a quarterback, it's the worst.
Kid. You got to get muddy.
Yeah,
no, you didn't like.
The guy
that.
that likes to play quarterback, it was not an ideal situation to try to throw the ball and use a former newscaster.
Yeah,
did you have to
I hated
use
it.
a special gel, like a different gel for the rain? Just like whisk the water right off your hair.
Yeah, back then it didn't even affect it. I had so
yeah.
much gel that it wouldn't even bother it. Hey, Rob, thank you, buddy. Thank
you got
to
it,
Pius.
fellas. 8:15 pregame on the game tonight.
Awesome, baby. Cardinals and Dodgers tonight. So keep it rolling. Thanks to everybody that showed up live at Pia's. We appreciate it. It is The Drive.
Long's Garage in Urbana and Jasper Engines and Transmissions offer cost-effective solutions to your present engine or transmissions trouble. Avoid a costly new car purchase or high lease payments by putting new life into your present vehicle. Let Long's Garage install a Jasper remanufactured engine or transmission with a 3-year, 100,000-mile nationwide warranty and available premium service plan. Call Long's Garage at 367-3942. Long's Garage 217-367-3942.
This is Gina from ABC Heating and Air Conditioning. If you're looking for a top-of-the-line air conditioner, think Amana. We carry all sizes and offer expert installation. ABC Heating and Air Conditioning is locally owned, and we've been in business for 50 years. And for 50 years, the only brand we've sold is Amana. So go with a company that is local, dependable, and will be there for you no matter what time of day or night. ABC. Always be comfortable. Let us install your new Amana air conditioner. Visit www.abcheatingandac.com.
Since Busey Bank first opened our doors in 1868, we have built upon a tradition of close relationships and broad financial capabilities. Our experienced team provides the highest level of personalized service to ensure we accomplish your goals, simplifying your wealth management and business lending needs and ensuring a legacy for generations. Building business, growing wealth since 1868. Proud to be the official bank of the Fighting Illini. Member FDIC.
Want unbeatable prices on your next furniture purchase, but also seeking that local hometown feel? Look no further than Kelsey Furniture in Tuscola. Customers rave about their friendly, established staff, as well as their great selection